How is everyone doing? Hopefully you all like that little flyover that we did. How is everyone doing today? How is everyone doing? Can you hear me okay? Always have to ask that question. Oh, everyone say hi to Nub. He's showing his stream. We'll switch over here just immediately. Here we go. Look at that. Everyone say hi to Nub. Hope you enjoyed the awesome little show there. Audio is awesome sounds. Hopefully the music isn't too loud. If it is, let me know and I will go and fix it. The game audio is loud, actually. Interesting. Music is a bit loud as well. We can fix both of these. Put the game audio up, down a little bit, maybe? All right, we tweaked it just a little bit. Not crazy, but we did tweak it a little bit. Still shows up, at least. There we go. All right, so we are getting close to when we are going to show the Golden City. We're going to go on a little bit of a tour. We're at the final moments. Everyone is preparing for the show. I feel like I shouldn't be wearing a helmet for this situation. Makes a lot more sense to be wearing it that way. Great concept for the build. Thank you, Battle Boots. Thank you, Lotus Lennox, for that gifted sub as well. And, oh, no. Oh, this is terrifying. So, I need to do some explaining. I know. So, we're trying to make this glow. we're trying to make it glow, okay? It's people aren't sad that it's ending. People aren't sad that we're gonna have to wait a whole week in order to get back in. It's not that, I promise. It's purely that we're trying to make the top of the Papal Magnet glow with a lot of death. That's all it is, okay? That's all it is. That's all we're working with here. We'll go back down to Shrine here. So we're going to be starting the actual tour at 9 o'clock. It's going to get to nighttime really quick. So we're just going to chill out as the sun sets. Yes, the Golden Company members are literally sacrificing themselves for this build so that it can look as cool as possible. Shout out to all the members of the Golden Company. We have 35 different members of the Golden Company, I think. Maybe I can't do my math right. We'll find out. We will find out here. But either way, Kinvaras, Horatio, Andavari, Jackery, Cryshael, Spartacus, Isaiah, Ambi, Z Trunkenvan, Malsano, Bingo, Dargan, Drakeborn, Tanalier, Isabel, Bright Brew, Arlane, Pinduin, Mana, Torden, Talco, Velius, Bart, Blacklight, Tapio, Phoenix, Ghost, Zito, Dougal, John Copperhead, Helenia, Pickle, Dolovice, and yours truly. Those are the people. I'm not going to thank myself. What am I saying? Everyone else other than me, those are the ones, those are the people who made the Golden City happen. And I am so thankful for every last one of them. They're making me look good. They're making me look good. I am now tasked with making them look good. And that is what we are here for today. We are going to be showing off the Golden City. Tazbon, hello, welcome. Thanks for the follow. Okay, so let's, we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A section right here while everyone is still preparing. And I'm just letting them know that I started the stream. So any questions that I can answer on the game that I can answer? Any questions? I think I actually saw one, a couple actually. So I'll just start at the very top. So over on YouTube, let's see here. Andrew Warner asked, can you please discuss what a plot is and what it is meant behind a player being given for early access only? How will the $100 be considered upon release when it comes to plots? Okay, so plots are a very resource intensive thing for mainframe. Plots are essentially persistent little mini servers that exist in the game for you to have your stuff stored and build a bunch of different things. That is what a plot is. Now, being given 4 of them means that you're going to have the ability to build in 4 different locations, or in 1 or 2 or 3 different locations with varying sizes. So paying $100 for that, eventually when Pax Dei moves out of early access, it's currently projected to move out of early access a year from now. When that does happen, plots are going to be a part of a subscription fee. They haven't been they haven't published any official numbers yet, but they have said that the number of plots you have will be connected to subscription price. Now, this is not a pay to win scenario here, in my opinion, because the number of plots that you have don't confer any specific benefit. You're not saving any additional time. There's not a lot of things that you get as a benefit from owning a plot, other than you can store more materials, or you can maybe just continue to build more resources to process materials. It's not going to change the effects of the player experience whatsoever in that regard, and I would assume that there is going to be a cap to what players can have. The normal player experience is being built around assuming that you have 1 to 2 plots, is what mainframe said. So that's what plots are. You can assume the $100 is basically paying for the cost of those 4 plots, plus the initial cost of the game, like the licensing fee is what you could think of it as you're getting those plots for 1 year during this early access. If it goes past early access, or if early access goes past 1 year, then you're getting these plots all the way through to release. So it's kind of technically a little bit of like you're paying forward a subscription during early access, kind of. But really, you're just supporting the devs. That's what the $100 is for. It does cost money to host all of this, so it is really important that mainframe is actually making something to help themselves with that. Now, let's see. Delvey, yeah, what we've made, definitely really cool. I'm super impressed that we are able to build all of this in literally less than 4 days. It is incredible. What's the difference? Andrew Warner asked, what's the difference between $60 and $100 options besides access, early access plots, and a skin? Quite literally the number of characters. I think you can have 4 characters in the $60 artisan option versus the master founder of 100 where you can have 6. You can also check all these out for those of you who are wondering at playpaxday.com, and you can go to the early access section and look at the different options there. In reality, you should be able to experience the entirety of the game with just 1 plot. If you're working with larger communities, that's when you might go and get extra plots as well. So 4 plots for early access only is what it should say. That's such a deceptive marketing. You're getting 4 plots for early access and then they're gone for launch. So the plots that you're getting at launch will be conferred upon by a subscription fee. You have the option to continue with those plots going into normal, into the actual release of the game. You're just going to have to pay a subscription fee for those once the game goes live. So yes, you do get to keep those plots, but you're no longer going to just have them with no cost. It's going to be something that you're going to have to pay money for every month. And the devs have been very clear with why they're doing it that way. It's because these persistent plots are probably the most intensive in terms of their networking capabilities and all of that. So in order for mainframe to not go bankrupt in the first year, they do need to charge us based on how many plots we're using. Artisan, now we'll switch over to Twitch chat. Hello, Twitch chat. Hopefully everyone's doing great. Sanguinus, yes, Golden Company does have a not-so-secret spaceship. Delta McKnight, yep. Holy Village, it is quite holy. There are some actual holes, too. Lotus, we will continue to reiterate a lot of the different songs that are playing. I will continue to make more, and if viewers want to make some as well, we can add it to the same playlist. It'll be pretty fun. Let's see, does the Golden City get to stay post wipe? I feel like I heard that. No, Golden City is going to get wiped. I want it to get wiped. We have a completely different location that we're planning to build on. I'm very excited for this new location. It is going to be an incredibly epic build. We have, I believe, 200 plots plus planned for this particular build. It is going to be absolutely nutty, and you all are going to really love taking a look at it. Yeah, we definitely had some people die in order to make the Papal Magnet look even cooler. Battle Boots and Light isn't a good option, huh? That's dedication. Yeah, no, we have to get that golden glow the best way that we possibly can. Yeah, so Artisan, you are very on point there. Like, buying the Master Pack right now, like, you get 4 plots, but you're gonna have the same game that you would have in a year as the Journeyman. In fact, everyone has the same game in a year, and you're still gonna have to pay in order to get the next level there. So in order to get the next plot, so you should be buying the Master, the Artisan pack. Obviously based on your own interpretations of what you think you need or what your team needs, but obviously what you can financially afford, and don't go spending money for 4 plots that you can't afford a potential subscription fee for those 4 plots. I would say I don't have the answers. I don't know what the subscription prices are, and even if I did, I wouldn't be able to share. But my guess, my most informed guess that I have, is if they're planning early access to be 1 year and they set the price for the 4 plots to be $100, then I would say anything at or less than $25 per plot is a fair assumption for subscription price. It'll probably be a little bit lower because in those $100, there's also a licensing fee. So if Pax Dei cost, what would that be? If Pax Dei cost $40 for early access pricing, then that means $60 in that $100 pack is for the 4 plots. So that would be $15 per plot per year. So then you'd be looking at $60 per year, something like that, maybe for the plots. I don't know. $15 a month could be something like that. I have no idea. But like, my math doesn't even add up. You guys can see that. Some type of rent for MMO housing. It's important that there's not just a bunch of ghost builds. Yes, that's also another important thing. So you should have like, there should be something that you need to maintain, because these servers are only going to get more people on it, right? So if someone played the first 4 days and their build just persists indefinitely for the next 10 years, but they don't log in after the 3rd week, then their build is just going to clog up the system and it's not going to be sustainable. What a fun discussion to have right off the bat. We're going to start our tour in about 4 minutes here as well. Monthly land tax would be neat per plot. Yeah, I agree, Pearson. Yeah, but Pax Day, Play Pax Day says you get 4 plots for purchasing the $100 package. It doesn't state that it's for early access only. If you look at the very bottom with the little asterisk, I believe it does. And it also specifies that early access is planned to last until June of 2025. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. If they could be clearer, I could definitely, I would definitely recommend for them to be as clear as possible. Lotus asked, yeah, Artisan, it is a year. Lotus, what damage changes did you notice on weapon/skills from alpha to EA, if there is any? I don't. So here's the hard thing. You know, I was level like 40. I was like max level in my spear usage by the time alpha ended. The damage that I was able to do with these weapons was unwieldy. Right now I'm level 8 in my highest weapon skill. So we've been really focused on doing building for the competition that we're about to show off for. So that's I don't know explicitly if it's gotten any significant changes. What I can say is that the special attack, the control left click for weapons now do a lot of damage and have special status effects associated with them, which is super nice. That didn't exist as much. What's the best weapon and best skills? Any noticeable improvements to combat? Best weapon, in my opinion, right now is the mace. Its special attack has a stun, so that pairs really well with shield bash, which is now shorter, so you can stun your opponent multiple times. Additionally, the current meta in PvP in general is players are walking around in Jack of Plate, so plate armor. If you're in plate armor, like you can see, I'm in plate armor right now. You'll notice that my lowest armor characteristic is blunt defense. And while the chest plate has that protection, the pauldrons have that protection, you are probably going to be wearing chainmail underneath. And because of that, your blunt damage is lower. Tea time trading, is my computer still leaking? I hope not. Doesn't look like it. I'm very, very thankful. Status effect is huge for combat in its limited form. I'd call that a huge improvement. Yeah, so other improvements, weapons now also, magical weapons have proc abilities. So also the reason why I say the maul or the one-handed club, the reason why the one-handed club is so nice is there's actually a specific magical one-handed club where you actually are able to I forget what it is every so often. So it's a proc ability. It's not the special attack, but it is the proc ability on the weapon that when you land a couple of hits, you have a probability of stunning the enemy for a short period of time, or potentially making their attack slower as well. I don't know if that changed or not from last to this, but that is a huge benefit in combat if you can stagger your opponent just by hitting them. Very, very big benefit there. Is shield bash rotation no longer the meta? So shield bash is thoroughly a part of the meta, but the duration is so short that if you are holding right click when you get shield bashed, chances are you're going to be able to actually block at least some of that damage, which is nice. It's actually very nice. Awesome. Thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate you. Okay, so you still need sigils to put the effect on the weapon, I'm guessing. Yes. Yeah, no, you do need that. You do need that. Do you know how many spells they intend to add? I was curious if the plan for stuff like fireball or lightning. Yeah. So DK denones you. I'm so bad at names. Yes, there are a lot of spells that are currently in the game. I don't know the exact number. I feel like someone at some point floated like 200 currently exist in some permutation or form, or magical items that can be crafted. That includes weapons that do proccing and all of that. So yes, there's quite a lot. They only plan on increasing that. I believe in one of the developer interviews that you can actually see over on our YouTube channel. If you're on Twitch, you can go check it out. Our YouTube channel is linked down below. That's where we do a lot of content. We actually interviewed the developers. We had an over 3 hour interview with them over the course of several weeks. It was published. You can check those interviews out over on my YouTube channel. And in one of those interviews, we had a talk about magic, and it was explicitly about limitations with armor. So I said, oh, are you going to be able to use electric attacks using plate mail? And they said, absolutely not. That kind of, in my opinion, also means that there's going to be lightning, shooting lightning from your hand at some point. DK owns you. That's what the name is. Thanks for the clarification, DK. Yeah, so that is that. We are at 9 o'clock, so I do want to give you all a tour of the Golden City. So where we are standing right now is the entryway of the Golden City. Just letting everyone know that I'm gonna let the world hear them too if they want to describe their build. Give me 1 second to turn everything on.
Come down here, Helena, like we're doing a play.
All right. So here we are. This is the entryway into the Golden City. I wanted to start a little bit at nighttime so that we can get a little picture of both day and night. So this is our little entrance right here. You can see a couple of the homes that have been placed kind of near that. And one of the things that we always do is our city is devout in following the divine. And we actually have aligned our walkways with what we call the papal magnet. You can kind of think of it like a signal beacon that brings the influence of the divine down towards us. And you can see these are carried throughout the city, and it is quite the sight to see. So let's go over this way. We're going to take a look at a couple of these, and I wanted to highlight two of them both while they're at night and during the day because they just look so amazing. You can see there's the papal magnet is what we call it, and there was definitely a lot of death that happened over there. Sacrifice to make it look really cool. Now, the first one that we're going to be looking at is a tavern, and I'm very excited to show both of these. They look really cool, just even from the outside. Let me get a good little picture here. So this is our tavern, as well as the guild hall, which you can see over to the left. And in the forefront of this image is the papal magnet. This is the thing that as a player you will be able to see from very far away, and it pulls players in. It pulls you in to come and explore the Golden City. So let's go and take a look over here. Now, first things first, we do have a tavern here. We'll walk around inside. You can see it's got a lot of scattered items all around for us. We'll go take a look upstairs as well. Wow. We got a fireplace too. Got a couple of those throughout the city. Whoops. There we go. Gotta make sure I get outside before I close the door. And part of this tavern also has a little bit of a bell tower here. I'd love to show. It's got a nice little viewing point here. Wow. All right, let's take a look. This next build here is part of the heart of the Golden City. Now, normally we call this hall the Hall of 100. Golden Company will only ever have 100 members in it. As a result, every member gets a seat in the Hall of 100. Let's take a look at this from a little bit further away. How about? Yes, so we have built completely over the water. I'll give you a better picture of that once we get to daytime here, which should be coming up in the next couple of minutes. You can see we also have some friends hanging out up on top as well. So just shy of 35 individuals, and that is what we were able to make in less than 4 days. I would like to remind everyone that we didn't start until Friday at like 9 p.m. was when we started. So we gave everyone a head start and we're still here. All right, we'll start at the very top here because there's another good observation deck. And yes, I will do some flyovers as well. So here is a nice image of the entirety of the Golden City. Let's actually pop into a little bit of a flyby here. Now, for some of you keen observers, one thing that you might notice is that the city in and of itself also resembles a very particular religious symbol in the game. We'll take a look at that as we have the sunlight coming up as well. It did take quite a while for us all to build. You can see some of our members are here at our little amphitheater. They're acting things out. Oh man. What is going on over there? That is actually hilarious. So then we have the Hall of 100. We have the Hall of 100. Let's go take a look in it. So we'll take a look at the top at the very end. I have a feeling that it's going to look really, really nice when the sun starts coming up here. But I did want to give a little bit of a nighttime glimpse into this hall and do so while it is at nighttime and then as the sun is coming up. So this is our hall. You can see this is indeed where whoever is speaking to the entire clan would be standing. They've got the talking horn, just in case. Now, the one thing I really like about this build too, other than just how tall it is look at the ceiling. Look how awesome that is. Now, here is some of our seats for when we're in council. Go up the stairs here a little bit. More viewing and observation is located all around here, and we can keep going up. Just keeps going. Now here, you can still see all the way down there. All the way at the podium. Now let's go ahead and head on out here. How tall can you build in a plot? Normally you can build, I think, maybe like 10 walls high, maybe, if you're using some tricks. Now, if you use some alternate tricks as well, use some of the terrain and surroundings to your benefit, then you will be able to build taller than that, much like what we've done here. So here is another observation deck, and we'll take a look as the sun is coming up over this amazing city. Wow. So then we do have a little office right here. This is the administration office. I believe this is where people get fired. A common occurrence in the Golden Company. But have no fear, our HR team is really great at rehiring after the firing process has come to a conclusion. Wow. Here comes the sun. Do 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 do. All right, I wanna get this as the sun comes up. It is a sight worth seeing. Right here. I kind of liked it a little bit further up. Wow. So, again, the motivation of the Golden City. We are a city where any group, any number of people can come and call home both the solo player and the large group who wants to be a part of what we are building. This is a place for them. And we want it to be a welcoming place. So you can see all of our design language here is open. We want people to be able to explore and look around and be a part of the community. And that is part of what we have built here. We do have this awesome sun that will come up at some point. We're in a little bit of a valley here as well. So let's go take a look a little bit further down the way here, because we do have some more stuff to share. So typically when we build, the Golden City does everything as a team. So I don't think there's a single building here that's only been worked on by an individual player. Oh, there's Helena. And we'll take a look in here. So a city of this proportion is not built on a single pottery kiln. So we made a massive pottery kiln instead. Now, a couple of areas that I did really want to point out. We must go into the center here, and there's a couple of things that are really worth pointing out. First and foremost, I really like this little pool that we have there, though I'm going to wait for the sun to come up a little bit more. Now, this is actually an island, believe it or not. It's the only island in Shire. But we have turned that island into a monument of sorts, even with its own walkways into a garden of sorts. And then here is the center of our city, a city square, although it is more of a city circle. And the Papal Magnet, the tallest monument to the divine that we can find. And this is actually a really awesome. Oh, hold up. What? Oh, no way. So we've done this multiple times before where we actually put the sun in line with the papal magnet, and that is intentional. Looks like we've maybe unintentionally or intentionally done that again here. What a cool little shot here with the sun coming up, right? Oh man. All right, so yes, this is the center, and you can see that we have it where, you know, players can come and get some food, hang out, sit down, relax a bit. And then over here, we do have our auditorium where players can come and watch plays, talk, congregate, have fun. We also have an area for dignitaries to sit as well in a place of prominence like they so deserve. Now we'll take a look over in this direction. This is our more work in progress. The city's never finished, and it will never be finished truly, no matter how long we are here for, how long we've been building for. It is always a work in progress. And we don't want the city to just have husks of buildings while they're being built. We really like the idea of showing that it is indeed being built. So you can see right here, this is a work in progress building right now, and it's being supported. The walls are being supported by some struts throughout as our builders are still working on things. I would like to note that these don't necessarily have an effect on the actual stability, but it looks real. Looks like some workers have been here working on and processing the lumber and the clay in order to make this building here, and it's like they clocked out for the week, or at least the day, and they're off doing their own thing now. But now we have this partially built building, and we want the city to have this feeling that it's alive and that players are actively working on things and building things out. So I definitely love how this site looks, even though it's in construction right now, and we're working very, very avidly to finish this off, but we are what we are, and we're showing it off now. So here we have another hall that has been made. Now, the Golden City doesn't necessarily have to just be the Golden Company. We envision it having embassies and places where many different clans can have outposts or places of operation. And you can kind of think of this grand hall here as potentially one of those. And nice wide open space. We've got some nature that is here as well, kind of integrated into the bottom of the build. It's a very natural, nature-oriented building with a lot of the logs and all of that that's here too. I love that spiral staircase and the opening that it has there. And I think we can go outside. There's a porch right here too. Let's take a look and see what it looks like outside. Wow. I mean, it's not a half bad little view we got here. How cool. All right, let's close this up. Let's go take a look at some of the other buildings I just wanted to show off here. We have quite a bit. Again, we had just shy of 3 days, I think, to formally work on this, as we got in a little bit late, but we're still here. There we go. Let's close this. And I will answer all of the questions after we finish this little tour here as well. Have no fear. I see all of the questions coming up. We will answer them shortly. So again, you can kind of see all of these Pax Dei, these emblems of the divine here throughout the entire city. And we've got a very large home of sorts in here. Probably shouldn't just look through these without actually knocking on the door, but I did want to show a little outside view here from up top. Let's see. So we've been playing around with the idea of having chimneys, and this is one of those attempts here, I believe, as well. Now, oh, here's a fun one. Let's go down here. Here we go. So every Golden City has to have some form of church, some form of reliquary of sorts, store all of our relics. And this here is a shrine to the 9 Redeemers. You can see it's a nice little homage to worship the 9 Redeemers. You can see all 9 of them located here. For those of you who are wondering what the heck is a Redeemer, well, the Redeemers are the ones that bestowed upon humanity gifts from the divine, and we envision the Golden City to be a place where different players will pilgrimage to, as it is founded on a holy site. Love how this looks. Now, here we go over here. This is the Temple to the Divine. Got a really cool little Pax Dei emblem here. Oh, we've got some guards in front as well, ready to sacrifice my liege. Oh no. Well, looks like some nefarious religious activities are occurring currently in our Temple of the Divine. We'll have to figure that one out after. So in this particular one, we actually made this on stream, and I'll show this from the outside too. So I really like how it ended up looking, especially with the way that the walls are used here in order to make the pillars. Mainframe, the only thing that I ask is please add stained glass. Hey, 9, how are you? Long time no talk. We're just showing off a little bit of a build that we're doing in Pax Dei. Welcome. So this is a nice little temple that we have made for the divine. Pretty pleased with it. Can't complain. And you can even see that we have some rafters up top as well. Take a look. It's always important to have some support in everything that you do in life, and this is no different. I'm doing great, 9. All right, let's take a look a little bit further down. Now, here we have some small townhomes for players who are looking to live here and rent out the space. I've got a couple of different ones. I've got a much smaller version right here. I don't believe this one's been furnished yet. So you can see this would probably be a nice little apartment up top that a player can call home. The bed could go there. You put a door up. Have some nice furniture here to store everything. Then in the bottom, and look in the bottom here, it's another floor. They're not connected. That's because these are indeed townhomes. You can think of it as small spaces for traveling players who are looking to save their stuff. Maybe they're staying in the city for some trade or hanging out with some friends, and they need an extended stay. Something like this would be what we would envision them staying in. Then over here, we'll take a look inside this as well. This one is a multi-story build. And we have a lot of just amazing views throughout the entire city. I love how the water is so blue. And that reminds me, let's take a look. And this is the perfect song. Yes, 9, we are testing it in early access right now. Actually, this is a part of a preview event that Mainframe is holding. And we've been participating in a little bit of a competition. So this is another great angle of the entire city that I'd like to show. Didn't work on the game per se, but we've definitely been working on these builds. What a nice image of such an amazing city. I would say hundreds, if not 1,000+ hours of cumulative work from everyone who participated. Let's go take a look down here. I think there might be something going on more towards the amphitheater. I can't tell. Close the door. We have a nice little fishing dock right there as well, and then our warehouse, which is kind of where we started off at. Oh no. Wait, there's no fighting here. Who's the king of the rock, huh? Oh, that was really well synchronized. Oh, we got Zito on disciplinary action here. Keep up the good work, boys. And that is the Golden City. We have put a lot of work and time into it. And I say we, but in reality, it is all of the members of the Golden Company. I have been a mere observer while they have been working very, very hard at putting this all together for all of you to observe and get ideas and inspiration from. And that's what I hope that this really has done. Obviously, we are competing, we're trying to win, but I hope that the builds that you saw, not only here, but in some of the other streamers' showcases, are actually inspiring and make you want to get into the game and build here as well. Now, obviously, Pax Day is in early access. There's only more things that are going to be getting added to the game, more build pieces. I mean, we got so excited just by seeing these little sconces and these griffin sculptures that can now be placed as a part of having the Founders Pack. And it's incredible. It's such a fun thing. And, you know, we've been looking for wall lights for so long, and now we have them. And that's very exciting as well. Show the entire area from above again. And yeah, now we can answer some questions. And we also have some builders available. So if people are interested in hearing from the actual builders themselves and have any questions on how things were done, you can feel free to ask them and they might be able to answer for you. So let's go take a look at this from up top. Here we go. Imagine what we can do in more than 4 days.
What I've been saying the whole time is I can't wait to see when people have iterated on these things for 6 months, 2 years.
Now let me turn the music down a little bit. And turn up our chat as well. All right. Yeah, Blacklight was one of our builders. We also have, I mean, everyone in our Discord right now has helped in some way, shape, or form. And I did go through the entire list of all the people who made this build possible. And again, truly indebted to them. They make this look easy, and it is not. It is very difficult. I don't think they've slept for like ever over the weekend It's super cool what we've been able to build in such a short period of time, and I'm really hoping that we're able to, you know, pull through and get some keys for everyone watching too. Okay, so let's see here. Let's take a look at and answer some questions. Let me get up to a good spot here, because in order for me to look at questions, I'm gonna have to be over on the other screen, which does require me to kind of tab here. We'll come over here. Love this amphitheater. It's kind of a callback to our Alpha 1 location. We had a huge circular amphitheater. All right. Come to the theater. Okay. Oh, they're going to act something for us while we answer questions. Okay. Let's scroll up here. Let me see if I can get some questions answered. Belligerent, I just watched your all spells / magic in the Pax Dei alpha video last November. Has the magic system improved much in the game? That's something that's important to me. Yes, magic has improved significantly. Before, didn't really make altogether too much sense. It was overpowered in some ways and didn't make sense in a lot of ways. That system has now been upgraded, and spells have meaning now. There's not that many currently. I think someone passed a number around that there's like 200 something spells and or magically enchanted items in Pax Dei so far. That also includes the different tiers of a spell. So an example, Shield Bash technically is like a spell, and that particular ability I think goes all the way up to Shield Bash 3. So that would count as 3. There's fireballs in the game. There's a bunch of different healing spells. There's a couple of different CCing spells. I don't think they worked in PvP. We haven't tested it this time because we were so focused on building the city. But yes, magic has improved quite a bit. Want some? Love the guild's RP. Yeah, same. Let's take a look here. Eltari did 95% of the building. That's an absolute lie, Z, and you know it. Sir Nub, I literally showed your town at the start and end of my stream. Thank you so much, Nub. I appreciate that. Hopefully your stream enjoyed it too. Let's see here. Any other questions in Twitch? Whatever you do in early access will be lost when the game is live. That's Christos, or Kistos, sorry. Yes, multiple times in early access it'll be lost, and also multiple times in multiple times in early access, and then one more time before the full launch of the game. Once the game is live and it's in its initial release, there will be no more wipes planned. The game is designed to not wipe after that. So there will be permanent things that exist in game after release happens. Yeah, hopefully that answered it for you. Not your typical viewer. Will there be different types of servers, and how many different types? All of the servers are going to have the exact same, like, layout isn't what I'd call it, but it would be the same maps. So everything, all the resource locations and stuff like that should all be the same on server to server, but every server is going to be different because the players on it are the ones that are building things like the Golden City. So the Golden City is only going to exist on one server unless someone decides to build a Golden City somewhere else on a different server, which then it wouldn't be the Golden City because we're the Golden Company and we're the ones that build the Golden City. But yeah, so in terms of different types, I don't know. Mainframe hasn't said anything about like RP server versus non-RP server, if that's what you're asking. There will be different regions. I think in Alpha 2 they had several different servers in Europe and several different servers in North America. I don't think they specified in the North American servers whether or not they were like NA West versus NA East. They might do that. We're still waiting for the server list, so I don't know what the plan is there. PvP dedicated server. So technically every server can be a dedicated PvP server in a way. What I mean by that though is that open world PvP is something that exists in Lioness. But it and it's full loot open PvP. If you're in the zone and you leave the safe zone, then you're open for PvP. You can be fully looted if you get killed. PvP outside of those zones is going to be different. There's going to be things called knighthoods, baronies. It's going to be all a part of the feudal system, and those you'll be able to opt in or opt out. Did I just get logged out of the game? Something unexpected happened. Authenticate failure. You might want to try again. We'll try logging in. That would be really funny if the game crashed in the middle of this. Sylvia Tana, welcome. Fel DJ, welcome. First time in chat. All right, there we go. Be right back here. So you will be able to do PvP when you're in like a kingdom or a knighthood, but that is something that you get to opt into. It's not something that you are going to get forced into, and you don't have to PvP in order to progress. You can get the same goods outside of PvP zones as you can inside. So yeah. Sir Nub, see you around. Thanks for stopping by the stream. I appreciate it. Yeah. So I think that was all the questions that we had in the Twitch chat. Let's go take a look at the YouTube chat. I didn't forget about y'all. Let's take a look here. So let's take a look. Do you envision something like this being built on another group's plot snapped amongst your clans? Yeah, so Calgar, eventually the way that we envision this is if we have like partner groups, organizations, if they want to build enclaves or outposts or anything like that inside of the Golden City, that's something that we'll be able to work with them alongside. They can either snap their plots into the city, we'll relinquish a plot after building it for them, or something in between, where they can reclaim it. And yeah, that's kind of how we envision it. So we don't want it to just be a place where the Golden Company is. We want it to be a location where anywhere from solos to small groups to medium-sized groups to large groups can call home and socialize amongst each other. Yeah. So, yeah, closable shutters. I think closable shutters exist in the game, or at least closed shutters exist in the game. I don't know if they're closable. I just don't think we built them because, 4 days. Let's see here. Is that RP, or you think that would be a feature? Homes, I mean. That's in reference to the townhomes. I don't know. We're planning for something like that, regardless of whether or not it is something that is allowed. We do know that the permission system in the game is going to be getting refined. So let's say a player kind of pays us and then we give them temporary permission to enter and leave that home, or we give them temporary permission for the chests that are in there or something like that. Yeah, that's something that we definitely could see existing in the city. And it definitely could be something that's supported by systems. It might not be something that's direct, but it's something that we can work around to provide that service to players regardless. Yeah, so it's technically RP, like Calgar said, it's technically RP until there's something that's allowing us to do it. Yeah, it's going to be really fun to test. Let's see here. Doors lockable yet? Not yet. I wish they were, but they are not lockable yet. When they are, then that'll be a lot easier to implement permission systems. We give someone a key and they can unlock the door while they have the key. Maybe it expires after a period of time. I don't know. But that would be really, really cool. Yeah, there's a lot of players who want to run inns. So I would be surprised if there isn't a nice inn system at some point. Benning, welcome to chat. And you said for the clan hall built, whole Golden City is amazing, by the way. Thank you. Do you have to build a lot of cross sections for structural integrity, etc.? In that particular build, I don't know. That was is Tannelier in chat right now in Discord? Do we know?
I do not see him.
Yeah,
he's not, but it did need a lot of structural integrity.
Yeah, so a lot of it, I think there was a structural integrity component for that guild hall, but then other parts of it are also, it's just it looks cool. I think you would agree. It looks really cool, right? Really cool. But yes, I think structural integrity was a component of that. What about smoke inhalation? Is that something that the devs plan to add? I don't know about smoke inhalation in particular. That's a pretty simulation heavy thing. I do know that the devs plan on having, in one of our interviews, they mentioned a comfort system like in Valheim, but it would have more to do with like crafting disciplines and stuff like that. So if you're a blacksmith and you are working in a shop that looks like a blacksmith shop, then you get bonuses to crafting blacksmith things. So it's kind of like the comfort system. The higher your blacksmith shop is, the better, the better access to tools and all of that you have, then the better gear you're going to be able to make. And this also could play into the system where, they've mentioned multiple times, like when you're crafting a potion, if you craft it during a full moon, then crafting it during a full moon might give you better effects than if you weren't. Or enchanting things, or doing all of those different things. They could all have an effect. The plots on water, did they sit underneath the water or on top of it? Yeah, they are definitely underneath. 123 Lurker, welcome, and thank you for the follow. Yeah, so let's whip out kind of the hammer here and show what they look like. So this is what we're working with. In fact, I can kind of give a nice little picture here of all of our glorious plots that have been used to make this zone. Now, this goes without saying that we had about a 50-50 mix here of players that knew what they were doing and had tested the alpha before together, and then players who knew what they were doing and hadn't been on a team together before this point. So we have a couple of like missed opportunities here where there's these open spots that we couldn't place plots on, and we had to work around them. And that's going to be a really big thing. Ideally, we're going to have some kind of feature in the future that would allow us to fix this problem, because this is really annoying if you're trying to build a really big structure. Imagine if we weren't on the water and that was just there. Like, you wouldn't be able to build what you need to build in that slot. It would be really annoying to some players. Let's take a look and see how big an individual plot is. So we have a good demonstration right over here. I think this is a single plot. So it's easier to kind of see them from the side. So this is a single plot of land. You can see there's some overlap going off. As long as the anchor point is on the inside of the plot, then it should be okay. Yeah. And yes, the Trunken Van is 100% correct. There should be about 70 plots, as each of us had approximately 2 plots to place for the Golden City. And JC is right as well. Unreal Engine 5.2 is what the game is on currently. 5.3 is not going to be here before early access, but I'm pretty sure it's something that they're working on, because it does unlock a lot of nice potential for like nanite and all of that to kind of improve the graphical fidelity going forward. Got a nice little city going on over there too. And this is the cool thing about PAX Day, right? You know, we have this holy city of the Golden City, right? You know, we're worshiping the divine over here. But then in no short order, while we are located over there, there is also a group that built all the way over here. You can see a lot of their structures are kind of off in the distance. We have some players that are building on the cliff side right here, and it looks like they've made a staircase that's gone all the way up. And then we also have this city, this little village, a hamlet of sorts that is forming over here, and what looks to be almost like a Notre Dame or a dam or a gate of some sort. There's still the lines all over the terrain. Yeah, they're working on fixing that. So I think what you're talking about is like that line that's kind of going down the center of my screen, where it looks like the grass is kind of split between 2 different textures. That's something that they're actively working on fixing. So that should be something that gets repaired. They're working on the biome transition lines as well, so it's not nearly as clear. This is like stark like abrupt change here. You can see where the texture line is. So on one side of this line is where there's high detailed stuff, and then on the other side of this line is where the engine stops rendering nearly as much, and the LOD is like turned to nothing. It is kind of funny to see how that works, but this line is actually quite visible regardless. Yeah, it is crazy to see how LODs can work in this game and how it's hiding things that I wouldn't be able to see normally. Do I think combat is priority at the moment? Do I think that combat is a priority? Yes. Do I think they've had a lot of time to work on it so far? They're getting there. Lose Halo. Yeah. I'm glad that it did. And also welcome to chat. This'em 5. I'm assuming your house might be over here. Very cool. Dayla, welcome. Thank you for the follow. So yeah, this is the Koroth TV. Also, welcome. Thanks for the follow. Oh, the bridge. This bridge right here. This looks pretty cool. Koroth TV, also thank you for the Prime sub. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. This is a cool little river, tea in the river build that we have going here too. I like how we all as players are devout followers of the divine and have placed emblems to our faith throughout our build. I love that. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. So that's kind of those are kind of the builds. We also got this nice little mountain build here. Might have been a little too ambitious. Looks like it's a single player build. Calgar, I'm not sure if it's the nanite that's making that look the way it is. I'm pretty sure it is DLSS. Now that I'm thinking about it. Because my player character would have no chance of being able to see what's over this hill. So then it's like no longer rendering what's over the hill. Law of Chaos, have they mentioned anything about terraforming grass? They have explicitly said terraforming will not be a thing. Now, whether or not you can remove like foliage that's on your plot, that is something that I think they need to work on. They haven't explicitly mentioned that in the past, though. Banyang, yes. Actually, I think a developer stated that waterfalls existed in the game at one point, but they just didn't look the way that they wanted them to. There are several places that look like they should have waterfalls, and they just don't. So I would love to see some waterfalls. That would make this game insane. In fact, I think in one of the promotional images, one of the first ones, there was a waterfall in like the original trailer. And Calgar, yeah, I do think that they reprioritized combat to a higher importance for sure. Let's see here. Fallout 76 and Nightingale are the most recent games that have made novel attempts to bring true multiplayer to base building. Pax Dei is tackling it in a major big way. The one thing that I wish Pax Dei would do a really would eventually add is the ability to make kind of a ghosted image of a build, which would really allow players to cooperate. Maybe players don't want to necessarily be the one building and coming up with the idea. But how fun would it be if you were a builder and you could place ghost images, so to speak, of the walls. And then as you're building, other players can come in and actually like hammer that stuff in with their hammer. And then the wall is there and it consumes the resources from that person instead. That would be so cool. And it would allow you to play around with the building blocks rather than, just doing it the way it is. That could also play into a blueprint system. So you can have this ghosted image and you place it down and you can see how it looks on the world, how it looks on your plot, and you place it down and then players come in and fill in the blank. It would be really cool if that happened. I know there's a couple of games who have started doing that, and I really hope that Mainframe makes the decision to kind of get on that bandwagon. That might be a table stakes kind of thing where in the future survival co-op, survival or multiplayer survival games that have base building in it, I think that's just going to become a standard feature. Yeah, Satisfactory does do that as well. Yeah. True multiplayer base building in a scalable way is super hard. Ooh, we're going to be playing more too. How did our tour go? The tour was really great, Morning. Showed it off, showed all of our work. Here's our finished... Oh, hold on. Let me just put this away. Here's our finished product. Crazy Gambler, hello. Welcome. Osmosis. I was going to get early access until I read you get unlimited access to the game along with a specified amount of plots for the entire duration of early access, at least until June 2025. Yes. So by buying the game, you're buying the license, and then you're buying the ability to access up to 4 plots for a year. After that, they're going to, once the game is actually released, in order to maintain their servers, they do need to start charging on a per plot basis. So you'll have a monthly fee based on plots. And if you think about it, Thank you, Morning. I appreciate it. So the reason why they're doing this is kind of twofold. One, everything that exists here is persistent. Plots require probably some of the most resource intensive parts of a server because it has to stay there no matter if you're online, you're offline, if you're in a zone, if you're out of a zone. Like, let's take a look here. Watch this. If I zoom all the way out and then I look over here, those buildings are very far away, but you can still see them the exact same way that they would look up close in terms of the model. Maybe not the texture, but definitely in terms of the model. Now let's look even further away. You can still see all of those builds too. Now what about even further away? This is like on the legitimate other side of the map. You can see a little tree, and at the very center of the map, there's a half-built wall. That is still the build that someone's made. And the reason for that is because these builds stay. The rest of the server can shut itself off. You can, no longer see forests. You can hide pathways. You can hide AI, players, all of that stuff. But the plots themselves, they stay. Now, maybe they'll be able to find a way to optimize this and make it a little bit better in the future, but these buildings are persistent. And as a result, that means they cost resources to maintain. And that is why they have to charge for a subscription to maintain that persistence. In addition, the last thing that we want in this game, let's just take a look here. I'll use one of the builds that we were working on that we weren't able to finish. Okay. This right here, if there was no subscription fee for your plot and that player stopped playing the game, then guess what? There is nothing we can do about that, and that will exist for the 20 years that Pax Dei plans on existing, plus the 20 plus years that Pax Dei plans on existing as a game that we can play. It'll permanently be there. Day one, that was placed, and now it's just permanently there. The least that they could do to avoid either plot griefing or some kind of method for that would be to charge. In addition, not only that, but by having that system there, let's say a player decided that, I'm going to place just my plot. I'm not going to build anything. Well, when you place a plot, all of the resources that are over that plot suddenly become nothing because your plot is sitting on it. You can effectively block players from getting access to resources in home valleys if you place your plot on top of a resource node. Now, eventually, I would imagine that's going to get fixed by having dynamic spawns on resources, so it changes location. But it would definitely ruin the experience before then. So that is a reason for having those plots. If you want to stop having a situation where players are griefing you and they can just kind of place their plot down and forget about it till the end of days, it doesn't matter if all of the stuff that they've built disappears because it's deteriorated, which might be a system that they plan on adding into the game at some point where there is kind of a maintenance that has to be done on builds, but the plot itself will still exist. So unless there's some in-game currency that has to go into maintaining the plot, it's just going to be a plot that exists there. So it's going to be really difficult to kind of remove that. Yeah, so I've heard of talks of a decay system existing. What isn't, shown is, will a player who hasn't placed anything on their plot, will their plot still exist? Yeah. Mystery Gray, also correct. You can't just have a free to play game at the scale that they're looking to do it. Look at New World. Sorry, I wasn't going to say that. It's just fun because we're going over to consoles now in order to suck a little bit more money out of a new player population, since I think average NA population on New World is like less than 400 or something right now. It's no longer supported by a cash shop. I would much rather have a game supported by subscriptions, and subscriptions that scale with the player base, right? Pax Dei is a relatively cheap game to maintain with all of these servers, because if you have a small player base and that small player base exists only in the Shire, and there are 23 other zones that they could exist in, but they all exist in the Shire instead, those 23 other zones are not servers that are spun up yet. So the maintenance cost for that game would still be the exact same with those players all existing in one zone as it would be in every zone. So it's a very scalable platform for it to happen in that way. That's kind of my thought on it. I don't know if it's the right thought. I don't know if it's the wrong thought. They obviously are coming up with their own solution, and I don't represent them in any way in that regard. So what I'm saying is purely just kind of my thoughts on it. Gazagoth area wise, how large is the map in kilometers? So I actually, during Alpha 1, I published 4 videos where I walked from one side of the map to the other for each of the 4 different zones that existed in game as a time lapse. That time lapse took about 30 minutes for each zone, and I sped it up like 7 or 10 fold. Whatever the math is to make it so that 30 minutes was actually more like an hour and a half, 2 hours to walk from one side to the other. And that's just going from like, what zone are we in? We're in, what are we in? Merrie. So for my Merrie video, I started up here. These gates were open before. I started up here, and then I went all the way down the center, all the way down. And then I believe I exited over here to this one of these gates. That took me about 2 hours to get from one side to the other. And I was just going in a straight line, not getting distracted at all, I promise. Yeah, it's pretty large. Aaron, what weapon trees are there? Bows, sword, mace, what more? Great question. So there are no like weapon trees that you get skills. There are weapon skills. So there's not like a skill tree, but you can build skills, and then those skills might unlock future opportunities and stuff like that as well. So right now there's axes, warhammers, maces, light polearms, hand spears, swords, great axes, sledgehammers, great mauls, polearms, two-handed spears, great swords, and there's also shields, as well as bows and crossbows were a recent addition as well. But I don't think they are actually usable yet. When do we get access to this server? Do I know? So nobody's going to get access to this server. This server is a preview event server. I'm pretty sure it's getting wiped starting somewhere around tomorrow. So that is, it's no longer going to exist. By the time early access comes out, everyone's starting fresh. Nobody's getting a head start. So it's all fresh. Yeah. Do they plan on weather and seasonal effects? I do think that they want to add those. It will, I don't think, I mean, obviously we can be surprised tomorrow, but I don't think the first build is going to include weather because it doesn't exist in game right now and we're only a week away. Nice. Spartacus just casually sitting around on the city. They had a dynamic wind system that they spoke of, but not sure if it's in place. So there is a wind system. I can kind of, well, I don't think it's what we're talking about, but let's see here. So we're going to set a waypoint over to here. So we're over here. We're setting a waypoint over there. We'll close this off. You see that? So there is a wind, so to speak, guiding us towards the waypoint. So we kind of know where to go. There's no compass. But when you press G, it makes the winds pop up. The guiding winds show up. And it shows you the direction that you should be going in order to get to your waypoint, which you can see is over there. Oops. And all you have to do to set that is hold left control and then left click. And then to unset it, it's control and left click again. Without plots over water, is a bridge buildable? No. In order to build the bridge, you must have plots on the water in order to get that bridge across, because you can only build on plots. That goes without saying, there are bridges that exist in game, like this one. No player built this bridge. This counts as a road. Blue Frenzy, hello, welcome. Thank you for the follow. Swag is the early game progression loop improved. I would say the leveling paths have been improved. That's kind of a byproduct of the stack sizes being changed, among a bunch of other things, but also a more clear leveling path for how to get from level 0 to level 10, for example. Sub-Zero, welcome to the chat. Thoughts on sustaining a player base when there's no goal or objective and you can build the city in 4 days. So this city, yes, was built in 4 days. We were building like crazy people. This city is like nowhere close to being complete. Do you all think that this city is close to being complete in Discord?
No.
Not even close.
Yeah, we've at least a few more months.
We're a fraction.
If we had to give a percentage, I would say if we were like fully fleshed out livable city with all the commodities we need, we're about 15% of the way.
Yeah,
You're
it's just the
optimistic, my friend.
outside.
Yeah, 15% is pretty
Yeah.
optimistic, I'd
10 to
say.
15.
Really? I guess for the number of plots that are currently here, like the 70 plots, right? Because I mean, our warehouse is
It's
like,
less than 70 because we had several people bugged with one plot. So like it's probably more like 60 plots.
yeah, 50 to 60 plots.
I don't think we lost that many plots, but I hope not. Otherwise, we've been really good.
Yeah. Yeah, so thoughts on sustaining a player base when there's no goal or objective and you can build the city in 4 days. So building the city is only one component. As you kind of progress in the game, there's going to be a lot of other things. They recently mentioned both the feudal system, which includes knighthoods, as well as the parish system, which is kind of like the religious system in game. Both of those are alternate paths for progression for players. Those do include kind of like title marquee roles like Pope and King that players are going to be vying for in various modes and mechanisms. That is going to create its own, player base of players who are supporting players who want to become Pope and who want to become king, and the various politics that'll go into that and intrigue. Those are all things that'll exist in the game, and that'll keep people playing for a long time. But we're like, I was given this gear by a friend of the stream. This gear takes several hours to get to this point. By several, I mean probably close to 15, 20 hours of grinding in order to be able to make this gear. None of this gear has magic on it. This isn't even magical gear. We're not even like at the point where we have magic yet. And when we went to the PvP zone, you could tell very clearly who had the magic and who didn't, because we got our butts wiped. We were clearly outmatched. And a lot of that was because we didn't have magic. We were playing with only half of a combat system. There's also going to be other components of the game, like animal husbandry. There's going to be farming. There's going to be a knowledge system where we can collect books, relics that unlock additional recipes for more magic items. In order to craft a magic item, you have to have killed like an elite mob that has a name. And yeah, so that takes quite a long time to do. We're not even close to end game. It might look like I'm wearing gear that's cool. This gear took someone a long time to make, and they were pretty much focused on making this gear. And then they just gave it to me because they weren't planning on playing for the rest of the day. And they knew everything was getting deleted, which I do appreciate them for doing so, because I was going into a PvP zone. Yeah, there's so many different facets of the game that like we haven't played yet. We're not even close. It would take players a really long time to get to quote unquote end game. But in reality, you kind of already are there when the game starts. Like you can use every weapon, you can equip any type of gear that you have. Now, whether or not your skills allow you to unlock the full potential of that gear is yet to be seen, but you can at least equip it. Now, it's what you do with the gear that makes the game fun, not the fact that you just have it, unless you're someone who likes to just play Fashion Day instead of Pax Day, which is an entirely, fair route of playing the game. I know there's some pretty cool styles in the game already. I'm worried about content being overly farmed by mega guilds. I wouldn't worry about that. So it took me 2 hours to get from point A to point B on one map. The ability to go from where we are to where there is a rare relic that drops in order to make the rare spell that can only be found in that location, or maybe it can be found in a couple of different locations. You don't know, and it's going to take clans a really long time to go there. And then these places that you can actually get that particular set, that magic, that really rare set, is going to be so far away from their home, most likely, that even if they sat there and farmed it, they'd have to still make the long distance travel to get all the way back to their place so that they can actually craft the thing that they just farmed for the whole time. So it kind of, yeah, they can farm it, but it's gonna, they're gonna have to leave in order to get the benefit from it too. And while there might be one place that has something, there's gonna be different places that have different options. So you're going to be able to, yeah, they're sitting there and they're farming that one rare piece of gear that gives them a fireball spell, but you're on the other side of the map and you're farming something that gives you a lightning bolt instead. And guess what? They're in plate armor, so their fireball is going to do way less damage to you than your lightning bolt is going to do to them. So there's always that too. And there's so many other different things that exist on the map, like there's these Stonehenges. Stonehenges might be a part of a different type of magic system that exists in game. There's the eyeballs that exist on the map, and you might be like, eyeballs, Altari, what the heck are you talking about? No, they look like eyeballs. I don't know how else to describe them. Of course, I don't think Merrie actually has an eyeball. Does Merrie really not have an eyeball?
I don't think so.
Wow. Impressive.
Oncian does. Karis does.
Yeah, so there's eyeballs that exist on the map, and that's kind of where like churches exist, like cathedrals, like old cathedrals, ancient cathedrals from the ancient Gallian Empire. In this map, there's only the circles, the stone circles. I would imagine both of those have places of significance for those schools of magic. The stone circles for like nature magic, whereas the churches might be for both miracles and the parish system, but also like divine magic or healing spells. That's where you could get possibly some of those things from. So yeah. What's the current spell research system like? How do you acquire spells? So right now, the only way that you can acquire a spell is you go and find an elite mob that is named something. And when you kill that mob, they have a chance to drop what is called a relic. That relic is a component of a recipe or recipes that grant you a magical spell. So there is a named mob in here somewhere. I don't know if I'll be able to find it without also getting chased down. But you can kind of tell who they are because they look really mean. Let's see. Hello? Ooh. Doesn't look like the named mob is here yet. Yeah, no named mob here yet. There's a named mob that spawns here. It's called, it's Messenger of something. I forget. But they drop something and you can pick it up, and then that unlocks the ability to craft a spell. Our group is small, and on June 18th, we'll only have about 14 plots that we plan to combine for a nice start of a town. Senior 70 plots, though, made our idea feel small. It doesn't have to feel small, though. We did a really grand build here where there's a lot of open space, and, like, let's be real. Let me pull this out again. Let's look at the total number of plots for where there's actually buildings. Really, each of these buildings are on 1 to 2 plots, right? That's a lot closer to 14 than it is to 70. Look at all of the blank space that's in between on these plots. We just wanted to preserve the area so we didn't have some random players come in and start building on our stuff or around it and kind of ruin what we were going for. But the number of plots, 14, is more than enough. In fact, if you go back to our YouTube channel and you check out the Golden City from Alpha 2, that I think was primarily built on just shy of 20 plots, if I remember correctly, or around 20 plots. So that was a pretty big space. It looked really cool. And it was enough where all of the players who spawned around it saw it, and then they wanted to build around it. It was a focal point. So Gamer DNA, non-clan members can build right next to your plot. Now, doing so actually extends, as long as there's an empty space, it extends the reach of your plot as well. So by placing a plot next to someone's, it actually gives you more space. So a good example, I'll come over here. So see how this plot right here is kind of more like a square? A Gohan's plot. So that is because they normally start off as a circle, like this one over here, Fernwich. But then when they get connected to other players' plots, this is what they end up with. And you can kind of see from this angle right here, that the one that's not connected, it is flat on one side and then circular on the other. So you actually get a little bit more space. Swag asking, how are we building over a river? Very carefully. Our foundations are shooting down. This is a relatively low riverbed. So we were able to place our foundations going down into the ground there. That's the only way that we were able to do it, actually. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, that's kind of the Golden City. Also true, yeah. Foundations right now currently don't need to touch the ground once they're in contact with the water. I think that's going to be something that gets fixed in the future. That's why we also tried to build it accurate by putting the foundations all the way down, even though we didn't need to. Excuse me. How do you go into that camera mode? You press F7 to enter the free flying camera mode. And then you can hold left alt and scroll wheel at the, up or down on the scroll wheel. And the more you scroll, if you scroll forward, then you're going to increase the speed, like how fast I'm going. And then if you roll backwards, you'll see us start slowing down here. Now we're basically not moving. So you can change the speeds. And here's that really cool cliffside build. I really like that. We did a cliffside build in Alpha 1. A lot of dying, right, Zito? Oh, Zito might not be here.
No, I think he's out.
Bye, Zito. Let's see here. Osmosis. Any idea what they're going to charge for a sub after spending $50 on the game? I don't know if I want to do a sub. They haven't mentioned how much the sub is going to cost yet. We can only guess.
They did mention that there is going to be potentially the amount of plots tied to the subs. I'm assuming it would be spitballing right now, right? Like $5, $10, $15, $20, depending on the plots that you want. So I'm sure there will be lower end prices than a $15 sub that WoW has. I think this could easily be less than $15 if you're like bare minimum, I just want to play the game. But if you want to spend more, there will be possibilities to do that.
Yeah, so they're constantly iterating on stuff, but one thing, that they mentioned at the very beginning, like way back when, over a year ago now, is they mentioned paid accounts versus free accounts. The big distinction between a paid account and a free account is that a paid account has a plot, at least one plot, whereas a free account does not have a plot. So they can participate in playing in the game, but they're not going to be able to own their own space. Now, again, places like the Golden City are going to be able to kind of hedge that for players. Maybe you don't want to play or pay for a plot. Well, you can come and stay at the Golden City. We can, you can stay at an inn, a permanent residence there. And then all you have to do is, pay whatever the cost is to stay there. But it's not out of game money. That's definitely something that could happen in the future. The devs haven't really confirmed or denied that is something that they see happening in the future, though. So take it with a grain of salt. Gamer DNA, that's for your clan members, though, right? So you're saying a random player can build right next to your plots so as to grief you, not liking that idea, if I'm correct. Yeah, so that is technically true. So we have this plot right here. See how it's orange? Egohan is not a member of our clan, but they have built next to the Golden City. So they're extending it, right? They're extending the reach. Right now, the benefit is that we get extra space on our plot. The downside is that they could build whatever the heck they want right here, right? There are eventually going to be game systems that exist that will probably allow that to be modulated. There's like the feudal system, the parish system, all these other types of systems that are going to go and add into the effect that we're going to have on other players and between other players. So, but ultimately speaking, since they are, subbed accounts, right? If someone is just placing a plot there to grief you, if they're really wasting, $40 or whatever, so they can just keep their plot there and not do anything with it, or, build something stupid and not have any of the benefits of being around people. Because Pax Day is a very local game, right? Markets are local markets. It's not a global market. It's a local market. You're not going to be able to just buy something on some global market and have it teleport to your inventory. You're going to have to go to a place, purchase something, leave that place, return home. So all of those components there definitely add up to something where, as a player who's trying to grief or like get in the way, they're going to be wasting a lot of money for basically little to no benefit. Yeah, it makes your city look kind of weird for a while, but eventually they're going to get bored. And if they don't get bored, then they're just going to waste money. Great. So now they're paying mainframe to make the game better. And they're just kind of sitting there and there's a blank space. That just becomes a natural park. Like we just turned it into a nice little park. Yay. Or it's an ancient ruin. We turn it into something else. Will it be annoying? Yeah, probably. I'd be annoyed. But, oh well. I mean, this entire time we've been looking right here. Am I right? Did you feel like this area right here was any less cool looking because the build that existed right behind? What do y'all think? Does this look bad?
It doesn't bother me, and I was building the big thing, so.
Yeah. So I mean, the city that we're building is right over there. Now there's this like goofy, silly thing that exists right here. But hey,
It's
over time,
part of the town.
yeah, over months, we might be able to build a relationship with this person, see what they need to help finish building their plot. Maybe they stop logging in. Okay, well, are they still paying for the subscription? No. Okay, then their plot disappears. Their stuff disappears with it.
It's only going to bother you as much as you let it bother you.
Yeah.
Because the game is social at the end of the day, and it's like, okay, so that person randomly built next to your town, and they're kind of doing a weird thing over there. Well, talk to them, help them out, see what they need, see if you can come to an agreement. Like, that's the whole point of the game, is to be social, to come together and congregate in areas, and people want to be a part of that. So when there is a big city, people are like, oh wow, I can move over here or live nearby, and they have those lines of communication available. So,
Somebody mentioned, sorry, Zed, somebody mentioned earlier, what do you think about a game where you can do everything in 4 days and you have no more, what about the end game? That's the end game. Oh, you just got a new neighbor. Okay, how are you going to deal with it?
Exactly.
no. So the funny thing that Pax Day keeps mentioning, there's 3 pillars. There's the exploration pillar, or exploration slash, exploration combat. Then there's the building aspect, and then there's the economic aspect. Correct, Altari? Those are the 3?
Yep. Those are correct.
So I find it funny that they forget to mention the 4th aspect, which is the social aspect. Like, that is the core fundamental thing that links all of these 3 things together. Like, you cannot do any of these without having social interaction, because the game is built around social interaction. So whatever happens in game with other players, that's the real content of the game.
Yeah.
Everything else is just vehicles to make that happen more frequently.
This
Exactly.
is very much a game where you can create your own content.
And
You don't ever really reach the end game.
there was actually a meeting earlier today with some of the NA like clan leaders talking explicitly about like events. We need to run events. How do we keep people involved? How do we, build out these things? So it's very refreshing being in a game where there's a community of people who are, they're clan masters. Yeah, they're managing their groups. Yeah, they all have their individual goals. But at the end of the day, they're also like mini GMs. They're like the dungeon masters that are trying to create content for people to enjoy for many, many years. It's my opinion, like with the Golden City and the Golden Company that's managing it, like our whole goal is to create a space where there are these storylines, there is this content, there are these things that are going on. We have, we hosted the first in-game player run event back in fall called the Golden Festival because we're really creative with naming things. And we had a bunch of players show up. There were a bunch of like little mini games that we did. It was very much so like a fair. It was a whole day event. And it was really, really fun. I did want to answer a couple of these YouTube side questions. I didn't forget about y'all. I saw your questions. So Delvey asked, are disasters going to be a thing? No idea. There are things called miracles that existed. I don't know if there's going to be things called disasters or like curses or something like that. That would be pretty cool. I don't think they've necessarily said that you can't practice demonic magic. If you can practice divine magic, then maybe there's going to be another section of the community that can do demonic magic. And what's I don't know what the opposite of a miracle is. I would feel like it might be a disaster. No idea. How tall can one build? Freestanding from ground up. I think you can build maybe about 10 high, unless you use some secret crafting tech or you cheat a bit by building next to a mountainside, kind of like this place right here, where theoretically speaking, if you build at the base and then you build all the way up, you'll be able to start at the very bottom of this cliff and then build up past this point right here. You'd probably be able to get to maybe about this tall. You can get pretty high if you're creative and use some of the terrain to your advantage. Another good example is like right here. So technically, if this player wanted to, they'd be able to keep building going up if they are creative enough with it. So there, you can build taller, but yeah, most freestanding buildings like this is pushing it. There is some support structures and some sorcery that you can do with some of those, some secret building tech, but at the end of the day, this is kind of what you're ending up with. Great questions though. Let's see here. Yeah, so hopefully that Ruin Dark, hopefully that answered that question for you. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look at some more questions. Now we're over on the Twitch side of things. The Founder's Wyvern items, I assume, took Heartward Plank and such. Did they take Heartward?
Gargoyles did not. No, they were like rough wood planks.
Yeah, like
mix.
easy. They're more like first tier kind of thing, right?
The only difficult thing out of all of the Founder stuff is the scones, which require bronze because they're basically braziers. They're just reskinned brazier.
Yeah. That can hang on a wall.
Which I would say is the only quote-unquote game-breaking, unbalanced thing. There's nothing else that can go on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely need to add a
Normal
non-Founders brazier. Unless...
Or scone.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Asnog. Welcome to chat. Yeah. A lot of time has been spent building this awesome little place here.
No, not a lot of time has been spending this whole place.
Well, a lot of time respectively. over the last 3 days, a majority
It's
of
been a
people's
solid
times.
3 days. Yes, but it hasn't been 3 days.
Yeah.
With a blast, though.
Yeah. Hopefully everyone had a lot of fun building it. Don't feed me.
It's
Thank you for the fall.
it's nice to see how many different building styles everybody has come up with and all the little different tricks. Like if you look at the church and the spiral staircase there, and then you look at the spiral staircase somewhere else in town, it's completely different. Like I think the one in the meeting hall that's next to the in progress construction building, like that's a completely different spiral staircase than the one at the church. So like, and then you have kind of the curvature in the nines shrine. Like there's all these little different ways to do things. Like we even have 2 different sets of candelabra holders to light the pathway, depending if it's like on the center island or if it's on the ring. Like we have so many different varieties of builds because we have so many different people who've decided to work on all of this together. And it's just nice to see that variety, and it's like, oh wow, how did you do that? And then you can interact, or like that's the wonderful thing, you can go to neighbors down the way and be like, oh, that's how they built this. Okay, like you're seeing all these cool ideas that you might have not known how to do, and that's also part of the social aspect because you wouldn't get these ideas without seeing other people do them. And then you're having a whole town filled with that. And then that's why there can be so many iterations. Like when you have a town here for like a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, everybody's going to kind of slowly,
together.
yeah, they're all going to kind of fuse together into a single style that's going to kind of acclimate over time. And it's going to be very wonderful to see the progress for that.
Exactly. Rod Diem, yeah, the free cam is currently like a work in progress as well. It was just a feature that they added temporarily, and then everyone loved it. And now it's, I think, going to become a feature, but they have to add limits to it. Like dungeons, you shouldn't be able to just phase through the entire world and see everything that there is to see. There should be collisions and like a leash that's put on it. But for areas like this, you don't want to have a leash because then, this is a thumbnail. And by this is a thumbnail, I mean I'm actively taking a picture of it because it's a thumbnail that I'm going to use. But like that's kind of the reason for it. It sells the game for itself. The devs don't need to sell it. Look at this. It's just an awesome screenshot. We've had a couple of these awesome screenshots. So yeah, these are things that are going to exist. Now, in terms of pre-ordering, Ingrained, you're trying to buy this for a friend. You won't be able to buy it for a friend until, I believe, after it's gone into early access. So you can't actually buy on Steam right now. You can buy a Steam key by going to playpaxday.com and buying a Steam version of the game there, and you will get emailed a key when the game is launched. But I would expect that when the game is actually open to early access on Steam, then you will be able to get like gift it and do all of that. Now, fun thing that I would love to share with everyone here, upper management has approved for us to give away 5 master founder packs. That is the highest tier, I believe $100 value. And we will be giving that away. I think it is going to close on Sunday, I think, of this week. Now, in order to go and do that, we're going to be opening up the giveaway entries, I believe, after this stream or early tomorrow. So if you haven't done so already, make sure that you go and head over to the Professional Gamer Discord. If you're in Twitch, the easiest way for you to get there is by going and clicking on the Professional Gamer Discord link that's at the bottom of your screen. If you are over on YouTube right now, I will link a Discord invite right now, maybe. And by that, I mean my Discord bot needs to wake up. So give me one more second while it wakes up. There we go. Now it should be happy. There you go. So there it is. So yeah. Osmosis. Yeah, a lot of people are actually on the fence about this game. They don't know how it's going to turn out. It is an early access game. And my suggestion to people who are still on the fence is don't feel obligated to buy and participate if it's something that you don't like. Don't fall into the FOMO that does exist for players, where you see everyone else is playing it and you just want to play it, and then you play it and you're like, I don't like it. I don't want to play. If you're not ready to test a game that has a lot of bugs, that has a lot of development to do over the next year at the very minimum, then it might not be the right game for you right now. But you should definitely tune in to players' streams, the YouTubes, all of that thing, just to stay up to date on the game if it's something that you're interested in. And once it looks like it is the right fit, then play it. But don't force yourself to play a game that you're not going to like. People feel like they have that need, and it's not necessarily true. Bieber YouTube, hi. Don't you think the game is too early to release on Steam? From my point, it still needs 1 year of development for it to release early access. I'm afraid about players who left negative reviews for lack of content, the fights, no keyboard or keybinds, mounts, etc. Yeah, so like I said, Bieber, I think that in order for the game to get to a point where it is the game that we all want it to be, they're going to have to get it out there into more players' hands. Now they had it in friends and family hands for a while. I don't know how long exactly, but it's been in the friends and family testers' hands for a period of time. There's only so much data that you can collect from a small group of people, and you don't want to be in an echo chamber. In fact, some of the criticism that players had from like the friends and family testers and all of that is, they were upset because it's such a small group with such a small, N of X, that number wasn't good enough. And players were complained saying like, hey, you need more people to test it. Well, the cost of these servers are not cheap. So if they want to still have the amount of runway they need to actually make the game, then yeah, they're going to have to charge it. So with that being said, I don't think that it is too early for early access. I think the problem is companies have used early access incorrectly for many years. I think EA has polluted the waters when it comes to EA. And what I mean by that is it all started back in the day when like someone over, I honestly, I actually think it was Electronic Arts who came up with it first. Someone in a suit decided, hey, why don't we charge a bunch of suckers to beta test our game instead of just giving it to them for free? And they did that. And then they realized that they could release half-baked games that don't do anything and suck, but they had a really cool trailer and they could get players super hyped up for it. And at the end of the day, their trailer only cost them $500,000 to make. And they know that when they push it out into early access, even if it's a crappy, horrible game, that they could probably still make a couple $1 million off of it in sales if they did their marketing right. And then they don't even have to develop the game because the players already gave them the money, right? So early access has been tainted for a long time because game companies have just been releasing semi-finished products and calling it early access. But in reality, what they're doing is they're releasing games that aren't actually complete. And they want an excuse to not have a quality assurance team that's robust enough to test their product. So instead, they use it as an excuse and they say, oh, well, the game is in early access. That's why it doesn't work. And they already got your money, so they don't even care. I don't think Pax Dei is that particular situation. I think it is a company with less than 100 employees who are trying to make a very large game for the size of their team. And they have quite an ambitious plan, and they don't have the bandwidth. They're not some small indie developer game studio like Amazon Game Studios that can afford to burn millions of dollars annually on a product that isn't good with the hope that their cash shop is going to pay for everything in at the end of the day, right? So like they don't have that privilege and that luck, so they have to keep the servers on somehow in order to get the testing that they need in order to finish the product that they're developing for us so that we can all enjoy it. So when people say things like, oh, it's not ready for early access, I say no. The games that you're comparing Pax Dei to weren't early access games. They were finished products that were just crappy and not tested well enough by a QA team. And they got pushed out to the market because their publisher needed it pushed out. They needed to get the profit margin that they needed for a specific quarter. For whatever the reason was, it wasn't the game developer's fault. It was the game needed to get out so that it could start making money. And they called early access so that all of the bugs, players would be like, oh, well, it's early access, so it's okay, it's fine. But then, there's a lot of times now where the game gets pushed out into early access and it never leaves. Look at 7 Days to Die. Just got out of early access. It's been out of early access for a while. But it's been in development for what, 10 years? 10 years? Something like that? Early access?
10 years officially. Like a couple months ago, so it's releasing in July. They're speculating July 25th.
There you go. So the game's
And they're still not finished.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they still roadmap.
So
They have another year of content after that.
Yeah. So in my opinion, the game is truly an alpha game. They truly are developing a good product, and they need our opinions on it. But they also don't have a bajillion dollars to be able to afford to develop the product at the scale that they're, trying to test at the game. So they do need to charge some money to cover those costs. And they're probably not making altogether that much profit from what they're doing because they're going to, let's assume that, they stabilize out at 7,000 players or 10,000 players after the initial launch. That is still probably like 20 times more player base than what they've had to support over the last year. And they've been probably burning cash like crazy to keep the servers up. So yeah, I do think that they need to charge for it. It's a particular circumstance where it actually justifies paying for it because, we're helping them test the game, but they also need to keep the game up and running for us to be able to test it. Chicken or the egg situation. But yeah, and that being said, they're not trying to support themselves through a cosmetic shop. The fact that they have a sub and that the sub is more so connected to plots, or at least plots are a component of it. I would imagine, every MMO has to have probably some kind of cosmetic shop. And they've already kind of shown a little bit of that existing with like the Founders Pack and how the Founders Pack has specific cosmetics associated with it. So Pax Dei is not far from having cosmetics, but a company that's motivated by their cosmetics shop as opposed to having it as something that is a nice thing to have. Yeah, it's just something that they make money off of. That might be the thing that makes their profit as opposed to the thing that needs to cover their cost of operation and make them a profit. So there's a huge difference because a company that needs to cover their costs and make a profit off of a cash shop means that they're going to pay developers to make things in that cash shop and not make the game better over and over and over again. And we don't want that. Gamer DNA. There's another component to the EA piece with Steam too. Steam has some relaxed requirements for games that are in EA such that the game may never go to EA or from EA to full release. It ties into what you were saying about releasing a near finished game and then never bothering to get it back, never go back to it to finish development. A great point of that. Moment of silence for Last Oasis. Can we get a moment of silence?
Ha ha ha. Oh, sorry, silence.
Last Oasis is a great example of a game that is in early access and will probably never release. In fact, the developer Donkey Crew came out a while ago and they responded because they have a new game that's out called Bellwright. I hear it's actually pretty good. It's a reskinned version of Last Oasis. Let's be clear. It is a reskin of Last Oasis without an MMO component. And instead of walkers, it's a lot of other components, like building a medieval city instead of a walker. There's sound that literally it's the same sound bite from Last Oasis as it is in Bellwright. But Last Oasis is probably never going to exit early access. They will never have a finished product there because they burned all of their powder on that. In fact, they burned it so much that they had to reskin their game and release it as Bellwright with minor modifications and an updated system for Unreal Engine. But other than that, it's pretty much the same game. It could have been Last Oasis, but they knew that they weren't going to make money on that game anymore, so they had to reskin it and pump it out as a different thing. And they changed the genre from a yeah, exactly. It's crazy how that happens. But yeah, as a result, yeah, I'd much rather pay a monthly fee than have some of the other options there. Delvey said, well, also AI QA testing does not test in MMOs well because humans are humans. Also very true. Bieber YouTube, thank you for the follow. And that's true. So you can program like AI simulations to go and do all these things and try and simulate players, but it's not going. And there's no AI that was going to make this. Let's be very clear. This isn't me patting myself on the back. There's no AI that was going to randomly make this and have like 2 million entities to make a round, like weird looking stone pillar. Like it's just not going to happen. No matter how much they do the simulation, they can try and mock it up. They can try and do all these things, but they're not going to get that. So yeah, they're going to need to have players actually building these things and testing it and doing it at scale. What's impressive is that this build is happening at the same time that the build over there is happening, that the build over there is happening, and that the build over there is happening. Think of all of the individual pieces. If my build right here, the one that I did on stream yesterday, I would say this probably has over 2,000 individual pieces, components making it up, right? We have all these individual chairs. We have this altar. We have this podium right here. We have all the beams and banisters. We have the wall components right here. We even have the wood components that go in there. But then we also have this spiral staircase that's made with like 1 billion different walls all spiraled around each other. So yeah, there's a lot of entities, and this is on just a single plot. Let's look at this plot over here. Look, a different type of spiral pillar technique to make a really cool round pillar. But look at how many individual pieces make up this single piece. There's a bunch all making it up. And that's just one of them, and there's multiple. So, yeah, it is, there's a lot. There's a lot that goes into the game, and they need to be able to support it. So I don't think it's too early for early access. I'm biased. I like playing the game as it is. I'm gonna like playing the game as it develops, ideally. And the reason for that is because they're constantly listening to feedback. That's the huge thing, is they're listening to feedback. There have been comments that players have made, even in friends and family, and those changes have been made. They listen. They collect data and they listen. And they also like playing the game too. They like going on dungeon runs just as much as the next one. And believe me, it's fun going on dungeon runs with them. They play the game. They don't cheat. They like the challenge. They're masochists. I don't know. But they love playing the game together. They're fun. So they even play their own game. That's an important thing to know. They play their own game. Yeah. Sub is needed to make this game run the next 10 years, run 10 next years, and that is the goal. Like games, New World totally failed on that. The sales amount of the basic game does not cover 10 years expenses. In fact, I would wager to say the $40 charge that they made didn't even cover their marginal cost for the development of New World. I don't know who did the pricing for them, but New World was in development for over 7 years. And Amazon Game Studios is not some small studio. They burned cash on that like crazy. Those $40, the only reason it was $40, the reason why it was $40 is because they were trying to break into the market. So they discounted the cost of their game. They probably should have been charging $60 or more for their game just to recuperate the cost, especially considering that they didn't have a like actual subscription. And I mean, for any of you who were there at the launch day, their cosmetic shop wasn't good. I don't think I bought.
Still isn't good.
Yeah, I don't think I bought
There's
any.
2 okay ones, and that's it.
I think one of the first emotes that I bought in New World was the horse trotting emote because we had horse races, because we were bored, because the game stopped being fun like the second month, but we played it for a year and we didn't know what to do. So yeah, we made horse races happen. So yeah, New World also failed at merging servers when player count went down. That would have definitely saved part of the player base too. That's the one thing that almost worries me about Pax Dei too. The only difference is that playing with a small community, you have 4 players, it's just as fun as playing with 400. Obviously the PvP side of it no longer becomes a thing. It becomes more difficult to interact on the PvP side. But I mean, the game is a fully functioning game. It doesn't need 20,000 players for you to be able to build. It's not like New World where if you have a dead server with only 100 players on it, like you're not going to be able to do anything. Like in Pax Dei, if you only have your clan and those are the only people that you know that are online and that are nearby, there you go. That's your group that you're going to play with. Yeah, you're still going to be playing the game. You can still go do the dungeons. You can still go and explore. You can still unlock stuff. All of the fun is still there. I guess that's kind of the benefit. But I do worry, because we're entering into early access, how many players are going to buy based off of FOMO because they see, their favorite, internet personality playing the game, and then they play it for about 48 hours and then they leave and they move on, and then their huge community leaves too. In games that have server caps that can stop players from joining that server, that can really hurt the server, right? So I feel bad for those groups in that way. And Thane, you're completely right. You can't play it all. You're definitely not going to be able to play all of the parts of the game like PvP, but ideally those social systems that are coming in, the feudal system and all of that, even if there's only a small group of players that are actually playing, those PvP systems will still exist nonetheless, and will attract players into PvP as well. Nosranug, welcome to chat. Glad that you're here. Merging worlds with a lot of plots and buildings will be next to impossible. They would likely have to just move people to another world and somehow give them the resources or something for their houses. Yeah, that's going to be a big one. I don't know how Pax Dei is going to do that. I would imagine that they're going to have to plan something. But ideally, they don't expand their servers too much.
Hopefully the blueprint system that they're wanting to implement will be cross-server. So like, oh no, my server shutting down because it needs to merge because when they have 20 people and the other server has, 20,000 people or whatever, and they need to cut costs, like that's understandable. So if you could save your blueprint like to your account, that would at least help tremendously, because it's less about getting the resources and more so placing things. That's the time sink.
Yeah. Thane, I don't think that they're going to charge a full subscription per plot. I think you're going to have like one plot is going to be like $10 or $15, and then the next plot is going to be 20, and then the next plot after that is 25, and then the final plot that you can get, like they're going to cap it probably, is my guess, might be 4 plots, and that'll be $30 a month or something like that. Because at some point they are a social game, right? So if they just make it so a single player can totally whale it and buy 300 plots and, over the next 10 years build a city that is just for them, they can totally do that, but it defeats all of the game systems that they're developing. Yeah, 15 times 4 would be tough. Yeah, $60 a month is pretty nuts for a game. $30 a month makes sense for 4 plots, in my opinion. They probably are like watching the stream right now and they're like taking notes like, yes, they say 30 is okay. Good. What I mean is $5. $5 is the maximum that I would ever pay for 4 plots.
It depends on how much they want for the base game when it full releases. Like if they're wanting a $60 game, then they're going to go the WoW route where you get $15 a month for 1 or 2 plots or something like that. But if they want to kind of go more for sub money more than upfront money, then I can definitely see them charging upwards of $30 a month. Like if they're selling it for $40, kind of like a New World game, and then you get a little bit more expensive on the subscription. That would make more sense. I
feel like that's kind of how MMOs are kind of the direction that they're going anyways, is like while you have the quintuple A games now that are charging $80 for base package, then like MMOs are kind of going down in price. Instead of being $50, now they're $40, but then they're pricing in that the average player is gonna subscribe for what what's their customer lifetime might be 3 years or something like that. So then they price in the total value of that plus on average how much is a player going to spend on any cosmetics, and then that's their profit margin for that player, and then that's their game. That's how they make money. And then their churn rate is going to be how many new players come in to fill in the slots of the old players, and that's how they get the money. That's pretty much video game pricing in a nutshell.
You've been around the MMO block, so how do you feel about just spitballing numbers here, $800 lifetime max plot?
Oh, I would buy it. I would buy it.
Well, like, do you think that would be something potential or useful? Like, people would get it?
So here's how those types of things work, right? So I mentioned the term customer lifetime or customer lifetime value. That's like a typical like calculation and for businesses, especially when they're on subscription plans. So what they typically do when they look at the customer lifetime value, they're not going to charge you the customer lifetime value. They're actually probably going to charge you a little bit more. And that's how it makes that option really nice. But so they actually make more money off of, most of the time, you'll make more money off of charging a player that cost, and then them having it for a lifetime. Now, the only reason why a game wouldn't do that for like an MMO is because if you do it for an MMO, then the players that spend those $800 for a lifetime account, they no longer have an incentive to log in. Like when I'm paying $15 a month for a game,
You want to use your $15 that you spent.
I'm
just now.
I'm sitting there every month and I'm like, okay, I spent $15. Did I get my value from that $15? If the answer is eventually no, then I should not be spending money on subscribing unless there's other value that I'm getting from doing that, like supporting a team that I like or something. So while I would totally...
Star Citizen
Yeah. I mean...
has the sunk cost fallacy. So like there's a couple of psychological marketing techniques going into this.
Yeah.
But do you think Pax Dei could or should offer a lifetime? Or
I don't
that
think they
would
should.
not be in their best interest?
I think
Or
it's
do you
a,
think they
it's a,
should?
I think it's against their interest because we already know the capacity for MMO players. I'm a Star Citizen player who's probably spent over $2,000 on Star Citizen.
I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, I do too. And I haven't played the game in over 2 years. Whoops. And I stopped paying money. I took the red pill when I found out that the money that I was spending on Star Citizen was actually to develop the Star engine. Wasn't to make the game. It was the Star engine that they're now selling to other companies.
And I think that's kind of what New World is doing as well, because
Lumberyard.
it's the lumberjack, it's Lumberyard, and
That's what Star Citizen was on for a while. They were pseudo partnered with them.
yeah, Amazon's planning on getting into the Lord of the Rings MMO. So I'm pretty sure literally once that comes out, New World's going to be slowly deprecated, kind of like
Yeah.
Heroes of the Storm was.
I don't think
Versus
does anyone
like on the down low.
does anyone know in chat is Lumberyard? I don't think Lumberyard's confirmed for the Lord of the Rings
Yes, it
MMO. It is? I thought they
As
were
far as I'm
switching over
aware.
to UE5.
Unless I read
Because-
something else different. Here, let me Google Foo real quick.
Yeah, because I'm CryEngine is Lumberyard. And Star Engine is CryEngine. Heavily modified. And it's not because it's actually owned by Crytek. It's because Star Citizen poached a majority of Crytek's like brain trust and made them develop Star Engine instead. I thought Amazon lost the Lord of the Rings online game. Did they announce another?
They lost the first one, and then they got another one.
No
rather
way.
recently. Yeah.
Honestly, I'd feel better if like Warner Brothers had the rights to that instead,
Oh man.
because at least they haven't completely destroyed my child.
Yeah, they've been working on it for about a year now. The
Yikes.
second one. It is Lumberyard.
I mean, they've been working on it since they've been working on a Lord of the Rings game since before New World. I'm pretty sure most of the dev team in Irvine for New World has been working on the concept, I think, for a Lord of the Rings online.
Now, here's a quote. From a technical standpoint, Amazon Games
Hey, what up,
Orange
Fairy?
County aims to develop the game with a highly evolved next-generation version of New World's Azoth engine which is based on Lumberyard. So we're on a Crytek subsidiary, Lumberyard subsidiary Azoth engine. So that's what they're building it in.
Yeah. Azoth engine. Awesome. Great. But, you know, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to hate on Star Citizen. I, like I said, invested a lot of money into the game. I still have a lot of money in the game. I just am no longer supporting the unhealthy management tactics at Cloud Imperium that involves spending customers' money on making other products that the customer is not actually going to like fully use. They developed an entire engine that now is going to be used by many games. And they're going to probably make more money off of selling the licensing to that engine than they are going to, like, and that's saying something considering that they've made, what, $700 million off of Star Citizen?
Something like that, yeah.
So that new engine that they made, it's going to be very similar to like Unreal, or like Epic Games, sorry, not Unreal. You have like Fortnite as an engine, right? They developed a game and then they made that game the poster child for the product, which is their game engine, right? So, and that they used the money that they got from the game to continue to develop. Now we're seeing the benefit of that. We're playing Pax Dei, Unreal Engine 5, right? Now we get the benefit of Fortnite. I've seen someone play Lego Fortnite and it doesn't look bad. Not gonna lie, doesn't look bad. I haven't played it though, so I can't.
It's good if you like casual survival games. It's something to just kind of casually turn on, and it's low commitment because survival games are like, okay, you got to eat all the stuff, you got to craft all this stuff, then it's like constant maintenance.
Yeah,
and it's just like incremental build. Like this is just okay, go out, do thing, come back, do thing, go out, do thing.
Yeah,
so it's like very straightforward.
And I don't get me wrong either. I'm very excited for Star Citizen when it finally does come out in like 30 years, and I'm an old man. But have SIG announced that they're selling Star Engine? I think they implied that they're planning on selling Star Engine, because I'm pretty sure they mentioned when they kind of revealed it, like, imagine all of the different types of games that could be made using the power of this engine kind of spiel. It was definitely a positioning statement made by the company. Like whenever companies have press releases like this, what is the value to them showing that they made a game engine to a bunch of gamers who want to play their game? You would instead of showing and marketing the power of this game engine that you've created, you would market the features that you now have unlocked by being able to use that game engine, right? But instead they were showing the benefits of the actual game engine. Thane, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. So my opinion on it is their positioning. They were marketing to developers. They were marketing to people who were going to be developing games in the future. And they were like, look at this engine that we have created and how powerful it is. And they were flexing on that. They're not selling it to players, but they spent a whole heck of a lot of money to produce all of the videos and stuff around that specific engine. You don't spend money like that unless you're planning on selling it eventually. It was marketing for Star Engine for sure. So I think they will. I mean, you'd be dumb not to. Like, imagine a medieval MMO survival game with the capability to like instantaneously stream across all of the maps. Like, imagine if Pax Dei was developed on the Star Engine.
If they had the server, you saw the new server technology they were using, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be phenomenal. That's next gen MMO gaming right there. Like that's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Always said Star Citizen is a tech demo, not a game.
Yeah.
Well, but it's
like,
turning
here's
into a game now. I feel like it's getting there,
Agreed.
but it's been a
Yeah.
tech demo since 2013 or 12, whenever they kickstarted it.
It's $700 million of ketchup that people bought. People bought ketchup.
Yeah.
And they're getting mustard, and then right now they have watery ketchup. That is
Well,
what they bought.
right now they have tomato paste. Right now they have tomato paste. Like they have the component of making ketchup, but a lot of the other stuff. Thane, I would also agree. Hello Games, they have magic. They have literal magic with their game system, with their engine. And the fact that they're developing now a fantasy setting in the same vein that they developed No Man's Sky
Oh yeah.
is a proof of concept that, in my opinion, is them showing a proof of concept of the range of capabilities that their engine has. For sure.
Especially if it launches with minimal issues, like because I mean, obviously, brand new engine, huge scope of game, did not launch well. Obvious long-term success story that they've turned it around. If they start lighting a fire on the same foot that No Man's Sky is right now, that's pretty much the engine's already has all the wrinkles ironed out and they're ready to sell it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely agree. The next generation of engine is currently video games that are in development. What I mean by that is the games that are currently being developed, games like Light No Fire, games like Star Citizen, they are the proof of concept for the next generation of engine, showing what's possible using that engine. And I think, Unreal has a lot of control over the market, especially after Unity kind of messed up a bit.
Just tiny bit.
Yeah. So now there's kind of a power gap, and a lot of companies are going to start stepping up. Godot is there, has some power. Later, gamer, have a good rest of your night. Definitely see you on the next stream. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. So I think the next round of MMO is gonna be that for sure. Like, not even MMO, but like the next games are really truly gonna be made as like showcases for why the next line of developers should be using their engine. There's been a lot. I mean, I have been kind of busy with PAX Day over this weekend, but I just started catching up on all the game trailers, like the PC gaming show and all of that. And there are so many games that are coming out now where they're even kind of advertising like their engine. Like, we're developed on, like there was one that I saw today. What was it called? Like something of Fortune, City of Fortune, Streets of Fortune. It's a simulation game, a city simulation game that is being made in consultation with the developers who made Dwarf Fortress, like OG Dwarf Fortress. And
That's interesting.
it's a city simulation where there's a like procedurally generated city with all of its citizens being simulated inside of it. And the whole purpose is it's an open-ended RPG where you can, like, as a player, go and do what you want. It's the first iteration of it is based around like Thief gameplay, but eventually it's going to have politicians where you can play as like a politician. You can play as like all of these different types like of things.
Fortuna.
Yeah. What's it called? Age of Fortuna? Streets of Fortuna. Yeah, Streets of Fortuna. Looks kind of like a medieval Sims game, but it's all simulated. That's based on its own engine, and that engine enables the simulations that they have. So, again, it's another big thing. And then, in the next 5 years, so I know it's been really sad, game developers being laid off like left and right over this last year. But in the next 5 years, all of those layoffs, all those people, some of them that got laid off went and made their own studios. They got laid off and they said, great, this is the excuse I needed to go and make that game that I've been dreaming about my entire life.
That we're currently playing right now.
And some of those are what we're working with right now. And Pax Day and the games that are coming out in the next 5 years, those are going to all be like the love children of the developers who got laid off and finally got pushed over the edge to do the thing that they've been meaning to do this whole time. So I think we are going to see really kind of like a renaissance of games coming out in the next 5 years. Especially as the AAA developers have to, like, they've just been losing out on huge sums of cash, and indie developers are where it's at for games right now, in my opinion. I know that there's a lot of opinions on that. Let's see here. As a UE developer myself, Epic brings more to the table than just the great engine itself. Yeah, Godot is free. Two, it's not up to the feature list that you get with Unreal. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, UE5, dear God. I mean, Unreal Engine. I mean, look at what we're playing.
Depends on what type of game you're making, but more often than not, UE5, if you're doing anything 3D, is definitely the way to go.
Yep. And then, let's see here. The problem that they're going to really start feeling now is saturation. Gamers only have so many hours in a day, and all of these games and their engines are designed to be played basically all the time. We're in the boom cycle. There will be another bust. Yeah, no, I agree. Jacob Hoffman, well, you guys got to keep in mind what the industry trend has been for the last 15 years, roughly. What's the last game you remember that delivered? And Art talking about games you get 20 hours. Baldur's Gate 3 delivered. Baldur's Gate 3. Elden Ring delivered. Yeah. I didn't play it, but Tears of the Kingdom, I hear, delivered. Valheim is delivering. They're not there yet. They're still actively in the delivery room for that one, but it's delivering. So these 20 years aren't looking so good. Okay, I can see what you're saying there, Jacob. I can see what you're saying. I think it's because mostly money has gotten too involved. Yeah, I think where true games lie are with small teams that can be innovative and feel the burn. They need to make a product that people like and will pay money for. And they can't just do marketing to make it look appealing and then go for it. I mean, like, I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but like, I helped them with their marketing for Alpha 2, right? Like, they could afford better than me, I would hope. But they're focusing all of their money on doing the actual important stuff. They're very clearly trying to use their money to develop the game as opposed to spend it on some blowout, like, flash in the pan kind of event. And then go from there. Like, even the preview event, the marketing on it is definitely more expensive, but not nearly as expensive as some marketing campaigns that I've seen on other games. V Rising, yep, V Rising's good, I would say. Project Zomboid. Oh my gosh, can we get a second for Project Zomboid? That game had an explosion recently, right?
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
It's been in development. I've owned Project Zomboid since it first came out.
Really?
And
that's a long time.
It's been sitting.
It's kind of up there with 7 days.
Yeah, it's been sitting in my Steam library. And then all of a sudden people were like, holy crap, this game's amazing. And I went and looked at it and was like, holy crap, the developers actually developed the game. And it's actually good. Like it's a game. And part of that's just time. Like they were in the right place at the right time. People were looking, like that style of game was becoming popular again. And then they were hitting a part of their development cycle where it was like good, and really happy that that game succeeded or is succeeding. Iodine Chronicles also delivered. Yeah, I could see that. I like how I'm just running around the city right now. I'm sorry, y'all. We're having a really fun conversation. I hope you don't mind that I'm just walking around the Golden City. Maybe I should go the other way. Maybe that'll change it.
I was going to say, just change it direction, dude.
I'll just go this way now.
Oh my god, it's so refreshing.
Yeah, I'm imagine the amount of calories my guy is burning right now in full plate armor in the hot Gallian sun, running around and doing literal mile laps around a city.
Just be glad that the city's not made of black marble.
Oh my god. Imagine how cooked we'd be. Can I randomly fly cam instead? Yeah, I can fly cam. We'll fly cam for a while. Delvey, marketing professionals are experts at marketing, but not games. If you design a game that meets marketing demands, there is no guarantee of fun. So, fun fact, this is just a fun little tidbit that definitely isn't indicative that I was burned by New World at all at some point. But did you know that the original vice president of Amazon Games, the guy who kind of oversaw the development of New World, was the old Amazon Books VP? So they put the guy that sold people books, like books, not Audible, books online. They put that guy in charge of Amazon Games. The reasoning behind it, Amazon is under the impression that if you're a good leader, no matter what section of the business you're leading, it's going to be successful. They learned after firing him when it was too late that that is not true for video games. You actually have to understand the market that you're in. You can't just market video games like books with extra added features and hope for God's sake that it works.
Unless you're doing a visual novel, and in which case it would work. But New World is not a visual novel.
It's not, no. It's a multiplayer experience.
So, to me, New World was launching on full cylinders. When you'd walk into town and the town was packed, that was New World fun for me. The moment that didn't happen anymore, it was not fun. Even in game, it's like you walk into town, people are just doing everything. They're at every workbench. They're just doing random stuff, jumping up and down, doing their prone rolls across the street, and then you have like the little PvP skirmish that's constantly going on right outside the walls of the town. Like that was new, like the real distilled New World experience. But then the servers kind of died, and people lost interest, and there wasn't anything to do, and people stopped making their own fun, and they weren't engaging in things.
Rip New World.
And then it died. Yeah,
Rip New World. Judd, hello. Thank you. Yes, this is quite a nice city. Approximately 35 players participated in the building of this wonderful establishment known as the Golden City. Delta McKnight, thank you. I agree. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful place too. I cannot wait for a week. What time is it? Almost a week from now, where we will get to explore. Thane, have a good rest of the night. Great conversation. Hope to see you around. Don't be a stranger. Only 7 days away, y'all. That reminds me. So I'm going to have to end the stream here. Not because I am not enjoying the conversation, but because I quite literally have a legitimately 30 minutes to turn in the VOD from this stream to Mainframe so that we qualify for the giveaway contest. Talk about going to the wire, am I right? But I've been having a really fun time talking with everyone, so hopefully no one minded. We will be back on launch day. That's June 18th. We will be streaming approximately 4 to 6 hours after the servers go live. That's because we are going to be placing our plots down and we don't want to get interrupted there. Stoic, thank you for the follow. Thank you everyone who's tuned in the last, 4 days. We've had 5 streams over the last 4 days. I think we've streamed for just shy of, we will have streamed for 20 hours as of now. So, we've gone for a long adventure. 4 days ago, I didn't have a computer to play Pax Dei on. I had my streaming rig and that's it. We put the computer together, dual radiator, complete new build from box to functioning PC. In the last 5 days, we've streamed 5 times. We've built this city over the course of literally 3 days. Hopefully we win the contest. And we're a week away from the launch of Pax Dei into early access. I am so very excited. Before I leave, we are going to be giving away 5 master founder packs. We are going to be doing that over on the Professional Gamer Discord. That's where the contest is going to be held. I'm going to mention it multiple times. I'm going to mention it in at least one YouTube video after whatever reveal happens tomorrow. And then also in a YouTube video for Friday, for the PAX Friday review. I haven't decided when the contest is going to close yet, but these are master packs. Each one has $100 in value. Upper management has approved of this, and we're so very thankful for our C-suite of supporters who are sponsoring this wonderful giveaway for all of you. So regardless, I'm just going to say our community is the best community in PAX Dei right now. You want to know why? Because regardless of whether or not we win or lose this contest right now, we're still giving away one more Master Founders pack than whoever wins first place. If we win first place, then we're going to be giving away 9 Master Founder packs over the next week. That's almost $1,000 worth of value that we're trying to give back to all of you. So they will be on Steam. They have to be on Steam because upper management has provided me with funds from Steam to do it, as opposed to raw cash. There's no way to kind of control it in that direction. So we want to make sure it's being used on PAX Dei. Unfortunately, because we can't buy gifted keys on PAX Dei's website, we're not going to be able to have all of that money going over to mainframe, which is kind of a shame. But hey, we got to deal with what we're going to do. And I'm looking out for all of you. You all are my first priority. So I want to make sure that we're getting you those Master Founder packs. In order to do that, you need to go over to the Professional Gamer Discord. The Discord is listed right here. It's also listed down below if you're in hey JC, you've joined the C-suite. Welcome. Thank you, my guy.
Hey, no worries.
You didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it.
Gotcha, dude.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, we're going to be giving away those keys. In order to do that, you go over to the Professional Gamer Discord. It's not live yet. I'm still setting it up. It might go live tomorrow, but this is the last time I'm going to be live streaming until after the event. So the only other way that you're going to hear about this is if you're watching our YouTube videos, which will probably be coming out either tomorrow or Wednesday, and then Friday as always. So I hope everyone has a great rest of the week. I hope that, we got some spells going on somewhere. We got a nice little spell going on up top. But I hope everyone has a great rest of the week. Have fun planning. Hopefully we get some server announcements here in a bit. I am very, very excited for what we are going to do during early access and as the game develops, as we keep going on and on and on. So, stay tuned. If you haven't done so already, follow on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube. We come out with content all the time. We will be streaming at least 1 to 2 times a week. I like to make our streams more of events rather than just like me sitting there. And I also really like to focus on the YouTube side of things too. So yeah. Law of Chaos, you're absolutely correct. I only have 25 minutes left to submit. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the night. Let me go ahead and let's go find someone to raid here. We support each other, and that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to go find another person to raid. So just stay tuned really quick while I go and find one. I always like to find people to support who are playing Pax Dei, other content creators who are in the space.
I'm going to jump on real quick and say thank you so much for the opportunity. And this is an amazing community, having been in here for the last 3 days. I've been playing games for 20 some odd years, and it's a rare one to come across. So thank you.
Heck yeah, no problem. We're glad to have had you. And thank you for being a part of it.
Yeah. Hope to see you around.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you will.
Here we go. We're going to go raid Morning Darkness. She's a fun one to go and raid. Let's go say hi. Have a great rest of the night, y'all. And thanks again for tuning in. We will be live again on the 18th, so I will see you then. Let's go raid. Bye. All of you wonderful YouTube watchers, have a great rest of the night. I will see you all when I see you all. And yeah.